Hey, good evening, racers. My name is Mike Iddings, and I am the host of the YouTube channel Get My Buckle, which is all about first timers getting their buckle or the experience they had when they got their first buckle. So just to make sure you know that I have the qualifications to host this channel, I have a bunch of these. I also have a bunch of these. I have one of these. And then I also have one of these. So we can talk about Leadville all day long. And our first guests on the channel, Get My Buckle, are Randy and Wendy Delker. They're from Temperance, Michigan. They have never done the race. They actually got their confirmation email, whatever it was, in the 12th, and reached out and said, "Holy cow, we have no clue what to expect. What do we do?" So I invited them on the channel. I'd like you to meet Wendy and Randy Delker. And they're right there. How you guys doing?
Hello.
Hi.
Good. How are you?
All right.
Thanks for having us, Mike.
You're welcome. So what is your, tell us how you got, what's your why? How did you get to the point where you said, you know what? I'm going to enter. I'm going to throw my name in the hat and we're going to see what happens. Well, your name got drawn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, how'd you get to that point?
So, was involved in motocross with you and your family for a lot of years here in Michigan. Always outside, outdoors. Mountain biking became a big part of actually training for motocross in the late 80s and early 90s. So I've been involved in the sport since day one. And actually, motocross has faded away for me at my age, and mountain biking has taken hold as a great activity for us to do together outside with our family, and always been a competitive spirit. I've done a couple short Xterra triathlons, which are a sprint compared to what we're gonna do here in August. And then watched you, Mike. I mean, just over the years, just become an ultra marathon Ironman. Just insane what you've accomplished for sure. So an inspiration from you, no doubt. And Wendy just took right to it from essentially our first date. Was on a mountain bike, and she, I think, fell in love with mountain biking and ended up having to marry me just to have somebody to ride with, I guess. But I don't know. It just kind of came to be. Always on the bucket list. And, at 54 years old, I thought, what better time than now? So we threw our name in the hat, and it got drawn. And like you said, it was actually got drawn on my birthday. It was January 8th.
Oh, nice.
And I was sick as a dog with the flu, and thought, oh my gosh, what am I doing? This is crazy. I can't even get out of bed, So it was overwhelming, but here we are looking for answers, looking for, information from just about anybody. And I obviously came to you, seeking help, really,
Great. And what about you, Wendy? What was your, were you just tagging along, or were you driving the bus? How'd you get here?
Oh man, I feel like there's a lot of angles to this. So definitely tagging along for sure. I mean, this is something that Randy has talked about for many years. But also other races that he's talked about that we're finally getting into that I didn't know anything about. So definitely he led me into it. But also my excitement for it, even more than that, was when we raced the Iceman, which is only 30 miles compared to this, but it was brand new to me. So all the kind of mountain biking we've done was just more technical, more single track kind of. And then this was entirely different. And it just was so exciting to me, an entirely different challenge. And then opened my eyes to a different level of fitness. And for me, I've done a lot of training with all sorts of sports, but every time I've worked with a personal trainer, my focus has been on physique. And this has really switched my mindset from just physique to performance. And I'm really excited to see what I can get my body to do.
You're gonna need it.
Yeah.
All right,
And
so
I'm scared. Yeah.
and you're scared.
Yeah.
You know, rightfully so. I mean, it's
Mhm.
a big challenge, and you guys, you know, whoever does it, I mean, they bite off a lot. You know,
Yeah.
they definitely do. So good luck. You know, we're gonna help you get there. So I know today's some of the content, the front end of the content is going to be about getting your mind right for Leadville.
Yeah.
Right.
So you had some questions regarding that. So go ahead and, you know, ask me your
So,
questions. I'll see if I can, you know, we'll see what I can do to set the compass.
Oh, yeah.
so, you know, in the competitions that I've done, whether it be motocross or the few mountain bike races that we've done, like I said, it's essentially a sprint, compared to what we're going to do. And it seems like every time I get in the saddle to train for this, and we've just been training for a couple weeks now, obviously, but, you know, to just that it's a daunting, heavy weight, knowing that you have got to be in that saddle, for 12 hours. And hopefully it's 12 hours and you make it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
11:59.
11:59. All right. 11:59 is our goal. But, you know, mentally, what are some of the tools that you may use, or that have helped you when the grind is getting overwhelming? You know, that for me, I think that's going to be key, is to try and get my mind right.
Well, I think probably one of the first things would be, you know, can you ride 20 miles? I'm asking you this question right now. Can you ride 20 miles?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So all you have to do is get to the aid stations. You know, that they're approximately that far apart. I mean, you know, give or take, but I mean, get to the aid station. That is a race in itself. Get to
Right.
aid station 1. Then you're not thinking about the finish line. You're thinking about where's the next aid station. And we have the top tube stickers that are going to give you the mileages, and you're going to have them on your bikes. I'll send them to you pretty soon, and you'll have them so you can start to memorize those and know that I've only got, you know, 16 more miles to go. So we're going to break it down, and we're going to go aid station to aid station to aid station. And then within those little challenges we are going to go to the top of the hill. And then we're going to ride to the bottom of the next hill. And then our goal is going to be to get to the top of that hill. So we're going to break it down, you know, to segments to the aid station. Then we're going to break it down even farther to just the top of the hill.
Okay.
So I think that, and then every time you reach the top of the hill, there's a little victory. And
Right.
every time you get to the bottom of the next hill, that was another victory. And then when you reach the summit of that hill, another victory. So you are just going to be racking up little victories, and you're just going to keep stacking those little victories up all throughout the day. So you're not, so your head is about, you know, positive victories instead of, oh man, another climb. It took me so long. Whatever it is, doesn't matter. Your victories are, I got to the hill, I got to the top of the hill. I got to the next climb, I got to the top of the next climb. And you're just going to click those off. And then you're going to have to keep in reference your time because there are cutoffs. But we're going to,
Sure.
you know, as you go through and, you know, you go through your training and you get out to Colorado and you get to ride the course, you're going to start to understand, you know, how not only the distance, but the time it's going to take you to make that distance, and you'll know where they are and you'll have a reference point. So I think reducing it down, smaller chunks is going to be the key to not getting overwhelmed with just the overall task of the 105 miles. We're going to keep it in focus right here, you know, on our radar screen right now.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. You know, get it into bite-sized pieces for sure, you know?
Right. All right. What are some other mind questions that you have?
Do you have certain things that you think about while you're doing it? I mean, it's such a long time on the bike. Do you have things that you go through mentally as far as just subjects on your mind, or are you just focused on that next segment?
Well, your mind is gonna go in a million different directions throughout the day, I can promise. Because
Right.
you're gonna go from, man, do I feel great, to I don't feel so great, to, man, what happened? The wheels are falling off the wagon, to,
Yeah.
holy crap, my knee hurts. It's never hurt ever. And all of those things are gonna happen throughout the day, along with, my God, was that a huge rock? Holy crap, there's a rut here. That tree branch just whacked me in the face. So I think your mind's going to be occupied all day on the course for sure. Could be,
Right.
man, does this climb ever end?
Right.
Does this descent ever end? My hands are cramping. I mean, you're gonna have plenty to think about all day. I don't think you're gonna have to force yourself to think about things, other than one of the, a few things that are gonna that we're gonna help with is gonna be fueling. You're gonna want to fuel often. And,
Right.
Yeah.
often, 15 minutes, you're going to take a bite and a drink, or just a drink or something like that. You're just going to keep the drip going. That's something you're going to think about. You're going to be thinking about cadence. So if
Right.
you're, every time you look down, if you're not, 80, 90 kind of a cadence, you're going to want to see if you can make that adjustment.
Right.
Another thing, you're going to be looking at the sky ahead of you in the direction you're going. Is it still sunny? If it's starting to cloud up, what's happening? And you're going to want to make sure that you're prepared for what could be, in the next half hour.
Right.
Because the weather comes, the weather can change a day, and if you aren't ready for it, it's going to be moving the wrong direction. So
Right.
if you see it, and if you, depending on, I mean, I'm recommending you always have your rain jacket with you, and you're prepared, so that if it catches you off guard, you're ready, instead of, I have to get to the next aid station to get my rain jacket. So those are some of the things that I would recommend that are on top of mind, that are voluntarily on top of mind, instead of forced because of the course, because you crested power line, and now you're going down upper power line, which is probably the most technical portion of the course, and you have to pick your way through the rocks, to be safe. So you're
Right.
gonna, the things that you voluntarily think about are going to be food, fueling, weather, and then there'll be plenty of things that the course makes you think about.
Right.
Makes sense.
Right. Well, without a doubt, I think this is probably the most important part. I mean, obviously, you've got to have the physical ability, but from my experience in the sports that I've been involved in, there are guys who should not win but win. And it's they have this mental capability of just grabbing hold of the moment and rising to the occasion. I don't know if that is inherent, if that's born in you, or if that's something that you can build on as you go, type of a thing. I'm a pretty competitive guy, so I think I have some of that, but obviously I'm going to be put to the test with 100 miles. I mean, it's going to be tough. Never done anything like that.
You'll need the eye of the tiger that day.
Yeah.
That's for sure. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
Okay, Wendy, how are you?
Yeah.
How are you set mind-wise for, what you're about to take on?
So my mind is doing this like pendulum swing, pretty decent. So just talking about making the decision to sign up, I don't think I ever doubted signing up, entering the lottery. I was like, heck yeah, we're doing this. And then once we did it, almost immediately, I was like, wait a minute, I think I'm just kidding. What were we thinking? And then all the days leading up to, all the days leading up between the time we entered the lottery until finding out that we were in, I mean, I was like, can I do this? Yes, I can do this. I mean, really just all over. And then now, but I've never lost my excitement to do it, right? I just my mind keeps shifting from, can I really pull this off? Can I really train myself and my body to be able to? And then other days I'm like, heck yeah, I can. I got this. And then now week one of really, I mean, we've been riding bicycles for a long time, but week one of really getting into indoor training, you know, with instructions, with coaching, I'm like, oh gosh, I'm mentally doubting myself again. So, but I haven't lost that, like, heck yeah, we're doing it.
Good. We've got 7 months to train.
Yeah, right.
Everybody's at a starting point. Everybody's got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Wherever you're at, you're just going to build on. And I know your coach, and you will be ready come race day.
Yeah, good.
That's the biggest thing, I think.
You got something else?
Well, just you know, like she said, you know, you get this pendulum swing, you know, you get thinking, man, I'm good. And you literally get on the bike and start pedaling and you feel so weak. You're like, man, there's, you know, I'm not strong enough to do this, you know, and your mind starts beating you down. And you know, you had said before when you and I were talking, you're like, dude, you got to ride. You got to ride, you know, get the time in, you know, build your confidence, you know, do the training, do the rides, and, you know, the confidence will come. So that's kind of what we're working toward right now, is that confidence that's gonna come, you know, with riding. So
Yeah.
It's a lot. I mean, I've competed enough and we've ridden enough to realize that, like, this is not a joke, you know. I've talked to a couple people who have done Leadville and have done an Ironman. You're one of them. And they say an Ironman is a joke compared to this. You know, it's just not. Well, it's not a joke, but this is more difficult than an Ironman. And that's, I mean, to me, an Ironman was the ultimate goal for me, was an Ironman, and to think this is going to be more difficult than an Ironman, you know, is it can be heavy, can be real heavy. So
I think, you know, the elevation plays a big factor in that. That's for sure.
That was going to be my next question for you. It coming from, what are we considered flatlands here in Michigan?
Yeah, sea level, pretty much.
Yeah. So coming from sea level and not knowing, right? Like, that's a whole constant thought is, oh, you know, are we going to be okay in elevation? And how do you actually ensure yourself that you will be? Like, how do you, can you train for that? You know, can you train your body for elevation? And if not, how do you put yourself in the right mindset to say, it's all right, we're going for it?
Well, I have heard, well, let me back up. For context, this couple lives in the southeast corner of Michigan. It is very flat. They're 10 minutes from the Great Lakes, so they are almost at sea level. So they have no mountains, and they have very little hills. So as far as elevation training is concerned, I have heard that training in the heat of the day is a good supplement for elevation. If you don't have, if that's the best you have, if that's the best you have, it's the heat of the day, that's the best you can do to prepare yourself.
Right.
You can get the oxygen tents and that sort of thing. That's a whole other level of crazy investment. And
oh yeah, I looked those up and they are pricey.
Yeah, they are. If that's not part of your program, then heat of the day training is gonna help. It's not gonna replicate it, but it is gonna help. And you're not gonna know. That is the draw for Leadville, is no one knows how they're gonna perform at Leadville until they get to Leadville. So that question mark, I mean, it's just a question mark until you get there, and until you ride, and you ride hard, and you ride for a long time, pushing yourself, then you're going to find out how your body reacts to elevation.
Mm-hmm.
Could be good, could be bad. Could be somewhere in the middle. Who knows? But you're just not going to know. No one can answer that question until you get there, and you start raising that heart rate and you start ramping up the watts and you start, upkeeping and you get up that climb. And when you get to the top, all of a sudden you're going to know, oh man, I'm going to be okay, or holy cow, I don't know what's going to happen. I might just implode. I don't know. So,
Oh God.
yeah, that's one of those things that you're just going to have to wait till you get there.
All right.
So the sooner you get there, the better. The sooner you can test yourself out a little bit, you'll be able to answer that question, which will be part of getting your head right.
Yeah.
So since we're on the subject of elevation, the research that I've done, it varies a little bit, but some people say, there's two schools of thought: show up as late as possible, and just go, within 24 hours, or 3 weeks to get acclimated. Is that the standard train of thought?
That is very common. Both of those are very common. If you can only get here 4 days before, they say don't do it. It's not good. Wait and just shock your body into, I'm at elevation, go. Because if you're only a few days ahead of time, while you're acclimating, it's making some changes, and people feel poor on the second and third day. And then they start to recover and get better. I don't have any of that firsthand experience because I live at 8,000 feet. So that's what I've heard from a lot of people. Get here, as far as you possibly can ahead of the race, so that you can acclimate and be acclimated as best you possibly can, or show up, surprise your body, and go.
Right.
And I know people have done that. There are plenty of people who have done it like that.
Sure.
I personally would want to get here early and see the course and ride and just be part of Leadville and just get the full experience if you're going to do it.
Sure. Well, that's our plan. We plan on being a couple weeks, hopefully ahead of time, for sure.
Great.
Yeah. Showing up last second makes me really nervous. Like, what if something happened, right? Like travel delays, and then you just miss the whole thing. Oh,
well, that's definitely one of the risks, right? That's definitely a risk.
I'm not willing to do that one.
I'd have a hard time to do it that way.
Yeah.
It would have to be by total, everything else busted in your hand and you just couldn't make it. And then all of a sudden you duct tape something together and you got there and you show up and you're at the starting line. You're like, oh my God, I'm going. That'd be the only way it happened to me. 10 flats and, whatever. So, okay. Are we, as far as your mental prep, any other questions on that, subject?
Well, I think that covers it. Preparation is key, everything from the bike to your body to nutrition, all that's going to, I think, help build confidence. The more time, we mountain bike for fun. So now we're on bikes and it's not fun. It's really not fun to go in the basement and ride for an hour and a half. It's not great, so it's definitely a change of pace for sure. But I think the more we build on that, we're going to build on our confidence and work on that, and just keep running through my mind that it's not about the bike. You gotta pedal, you gotta go and build off of what we know.
And I love the way I feel when it's done.
And what was that?
Yeah.
Said, and I absolutely love the way I feel when we're done. Like, I just feel like I took this big breath of fresh air.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, it's not about the bike, Randy. It's about the motor.
Right.
It is about the motor. And if you can get the motor ready, you're going to be fine. There's a lot of things that have to align on race day, but if you take care of the physical component, I will help you with all the other things, to make sure you're ready for race day.
Thank you.
Well, we appreciate your help, Mike, for sure. And we're taking it very seriously. So we're hoping that everything falls in the line and we can make it 11:59 or sooner,
Yes.
Absolutely. There you go. Okay. So, all right, we're going to kind of switch gears. We're going to go, talk a little bit more. You're going to ask more questions about the bike piece.
Yeah, the bike, obviously there's you know, we could start with some very simple questions that I don't really necessarily know the answer to. I know the bikes that we have are the bikes that we're going to use. We're on full suspended bikes. You know, they're like 100 millimeters of travel, nothing crazy. And that's what we're going to run. Is that okay? I mean, is that for the people out there? What would you recommend for a bike?
Well, there are a million choices, and
Right.
there will be 1,000 different bikes that cross the finish line in under 12 hours.
Right.
So I think again, to reiterate, it is more about the engine than it is the bike. If
Sure.
you're prepared, you run almost any bike and you're going to still finish. So full suspension bike, great. A lot of people run them. I think I think an important piece of the bike puzzle is lighter weight wheels and tires. I personally would not run heavy. I wouldn't run heavy wheels, and I wouldn't run super knobs, super heavy, super heavy tires either, because it's the rotational weight that you have to get going with your legs. So, a very common wheel set is either high quality aluminum or carbon. And
Right.
then people are running, I mean, back in the day, we ran 1.9 tires. Now today, to
Right.
talk about a 1.9 tire, way.
Yeah, you
But
got it's a gravel bike.
right, almost.
Yeah.
So I personally am going to run 2.1s, maybe 2.0. So I'm going to I run skinny tires. I try and keep it super light,
Right.
just because it's a long
29.
day. 29er.
Yep.
So I would think that would be if you're going to change some things on your bike. Before I bought a carbon stem over your aluminum stem, if that were the case, I would put money into lighter wheels.
Right. Right. Well,
So
that's kind of, yeah, that's kind of where we're at. She's running carbon wheels now. Mine are aluminum, and it's amazing how much lighter her bike is. It's crazy. I mean, you can grab the bike and tell the difference. And then really the only big difference is the wheel set. You know, it's pretty crazy, the difference for sure.
well, and I think overall, when you think, power to weight ratio is a big, that is a significant thing. So the lighter you are combined, you and your bike,
Right.
the better.
Right. So you had a big thing last year on gearing. I saw that on Facebook last year. You were talking about running some lower gearing for better climbing, which was controversial, because you're going to lose some top speed ability for pedaling on the downhills. We're running, I think we got a 1x11 and a 1x12. She's a 1x12, I'm a 1x11. What are your thoughts there?
Well, for 12-hour people, not for 9-hour people, for 12-hour people, my opinion is you need to be able to make the climbs, and that usually means a lower front ring.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people that come from anywhere, east of Colorado, flatter land, they're running 32s, 34s on the front. And for
Mm-hmm.
where they live, that's fine. They're absolutely fine. But for Colorado and for Leadville, I think that's a lot. And it all depends on your engine. If you are a super strong rider and you're pushing 4+ watts per kilogram, we're different conversation. But if we're first timers and we're not sure and all we want to do is 12-hour finish and we have no idea what to expect, I would lean more toward a 30 on the front or 30 or 28. It all depends what your bike can handle, because different pivot points, drive what you can run on the front. But it's
Sure.
it's big, it's a significant difference. And if you can make it up Kevin, and you can make it up Kevin, right? You're not pushing, and you make it up and you are not turned inside out, and you can make the hard left turn on Kevin, and you can keep on going, and you can get to Carter Summit, and you are not just absolutely destroyed. that's the kind of gearing that you need to be in. Because if
Right.
you're to 34 and you can barely get to the left turn at Keven, and I mean, you're almost falling over, your cadence is at 30, or you're trying to stand up, or you're pushing, wrong gearing. In my opinion, wrong gearing.
Right.
Because you have to do that climb. I mean, here's my good little 3D map. I mean, we're only
Sweet.
talking Keven. Here's the left turn at Keven right here. And you just started. And if you can't get up to here, where's my corner? If you can't get up to here without dying, how are you going to get up here and then across all this and then up this? I mean, it's a lot. So you wanna save your matches on this part of the course. If you lose a little bit of time because you can't go as fast as you might want to or able to on the flats, the conduit roads, so what? But if you get to these climbs here and you can do them, you can stay seated and you can gear down and you can actually do the climbs and stay on your bike, it's going to be good. It's
Right.
going to be good for you by the time you hit the end. So my recommendation is gear down. I'd rather spin out than get off my bike when it comes time to climb.
Right. Right. I
And
know that's what you were talking about.
And that'll be when you get there, we're going to, my recommendation is get at the starting line, do the front part of the race, hit Keven, and evaluate at Carter Summit.
Right.
How did I feel? Did I make it? Did I push? Was I redlining my heart rate? Was I absolutely inside out? If you are all those things, see what you can do to gear down.
Right.
Because you do not want to burn all your matches getting to Carter Summit. Because there are a lot more climbs ahead of you that are longer and steeper and later in the day. So you want to make sure that you can divide the load and you can, you're still good come hour 11, if that's the case, and you're not across the finish line, that you're able to make the little punchy climbs at the end and keep going. Because I pass a lot of people on the second half of the race. And at the end, the little punchy climbs coming back up Keven, if you're pushing there, man, you are just burning the clock. And people they're looking at their Garmin going, oh man, I don't know.
Yeah.
You don't want to be in that position. You want to be geared down, tired, but still going, still on your bike, still just moving, and then crest that hill, another little victory, and on to the bottom of the next hill.
Right.
Just keep chipping away at those little victories. And is on your bike and riding is going to be faster than off your bike and pushing.
Sure. For sure. Awesome.
All right. Bike questions are still on.
Yeah. I mean, we could get into the actual tools that we have to carry. What do you recommend? Obviously, we're talking about weight. You don't want to carry more than you have to. Anything specific or unique that you would recommend carrying for equipment or tools?
Well, you definitely need tire changing tools. So you're going to need the levers. Wolf tool makes a lever that actually, it opens up like a little pair of pliers. And so you can use those pliers if you're probably running tubeless.
Right.
If you get a flat with your tubeless, you have to take the nut off that holds the stem, which is usually hard to get off with just your fingers. So if you have that Wolf tool, you can use it as pliers. You can get the nut off the stem.
Yep.
It's also a lever, and you can use the lever to get your tire off the wheel. And that particular tool also has a spot to put a master link in it and hide it and keep it, hidden away and tucked away. So you're going to definitely need that kind of a tool to make sure that you can get the tire off the wheel. Then you got every tube. And then you need the big CO2 containers. And then you need the end of the CO2 to get it into the tire. And then I even carry a pump on my water cage. I have a hand pump, because there's so many times the cartridge, you never replaced it when you had a flat a month ago and now it's empty, or the end breaks, or who knows what, but stuff happens. So I have backup plan, because my goal is the finish. You know, I would sacrifice 25 minutes to make sure that I could continue on the race and you know, get another buckle.
Right.
I would
Absolutely.
definitely have those tools. You know, there are all kinds of small, little compact Allen torque combination things. I just wouldn't get the one the size of, you know, a cigarette pack kind of a thing. I would get the
Right.
small little one, could mount on the bottom of your water bottle cage. Some of them mount, you know, just this is a small one, but
Right.
keep it accessible. It's another thing. You got to keep it accessible, because if you have to stop, take your camelback off, dig through it to the very bottom to find where it is, to take other stuff out, and then when you're done with it, you have to repack everything. No, no. If we're worried about 12-hour finish and the time cuts, we want to have things accessible,
Sure.
where we know where they're at. It can get to them right away, and you know that's going to be tire changing stuff and rain gear. Those are the things that you, and your food. You know, those
Right.
are the things that you have to have ready, available at, you know, at a very short notice. And then I think that would be about it for tools as far as what you're going to need for the day. And I would also, Wendy, practice changing the tire.
Oh,
Right.
yes.
Practice putting the tube in, right? Because if you're tubeless and if you cannot fix it, or if you can't find the hole, or if you just don't want to waste the time and you're like, I am just throwing a tube in it, fine. Take the stem out, put the tube in it, get it going, get back on the race. So learn how to do that efficiently
This,
before.
for sure. This is a big to do this year. Is I'm not sure if I told you this already, but I'm a little bit of I have been a bit of a bicycle princess, because I've never had to do anything. I do not know how to. I know how to put my chain back on if it falls off, and that's pretty much it. But that's because he's done everything. We don't do that kind of riding, you know. All the riding we've done, if something happens, we pull off the trail and he fixes my bike. I hold things and assist, and off we go. And
She's the factory pilot rider.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Awesome.
So
Good place
I
to
have a
be.
lot to learn.
Yeah.
Good place to
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
Well, I would
Yeah,
highly
I'm not
recommend
mad
that.
about it, but I gotta learn. Yeah.
Got to learn, because it could happen. I mean,
Yeah.
I went 5 years without a flat, and I've went 1 year where I had 4 flats. So
Oh, wow.
you just don't know. And there are 900 million opportunities to get a flat in the Rocky Mountains. So
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I can only imagine. What'd you do with 4 flats? Did you pick up a tube at one of the stations then, or when you
well,
had 4 flats?
at the aid station, I would replenish my tube, right? I would throw the old one out, and I would run into the toolbox, grab another tube, and you know, I always make sure I have one tube, a patch kit, the CO2, and the hand tube, or the hand pump, excuse me.
Right. Right.
Because I've been there,
Wow.
I've done it. It happens, you know, you can't predict it, and if you weren't prepared and all you had was CO2, I might not have finished that race that year. So
Yeah. That's a lot of flats, man.
it's a lot of flats. And that was
Yeah.
that was my 913 year. You know, that was I'd like to think that if that wouldn't have been the case, I would have been sub 9.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
well, 4 flat tires. I don't know how long it takes to change one, but
Too bad, too long.
yeah.
Right. Right. For sure.
All right, we got any more bike stuff?
Yeah.
You had already talked about tires. We talked about 29. I mean, you know, we could talk about wheel size. She's running 27.5 actually.
But with the plus side.
But she's got a plus size tire on it, and she loves the way it handles and the way it rides. So we're gonna just see how it goes. She's super comfortable on the bike.
If you're comfortable, great. We used to ride it on 26ers. So
Right.
with that, you know, with that in mind, 27 halves are even better. So don't feel like that's a disadvantage in any way.
Right. Yeah,
You're-
she's been comfortable on it. She loves it. So
I really don't know otherwise either.
Fine. You
Yeah.
know, no problem. No problem.
that's pretty much it for what I had for bike questions. I mean,
I had a bike question.
go ahead.
What
Okay.
about, you said, you know, to have things, you know, easily accessible. So do you pack your bike a certain way. Like I've seen all sorts of different attachments that you can get, you know, for your handlebars or the stem or underneath your seat. Like, do you do all of that?
Well, what I do is I have a top tube bag, and that it doesn't have a zipper. It's not Velcro. I'll send you the link to it. It and that's where I keep my food and my anti-cramp, my salt tablets. So
Okay.
they're all I can grab it easily. I can eat when I need to eat. If I do start to get cramps, I can get to my cramp pills and they'll go away. So that's on the top tube right up front that I can access always. I
Mhm.
personally keep my rain jacket, and in my rain jacket pocket, I have rubber gloves and I have a shower cap for my helmet to go over my helmet. So if the weather turns bad, I can just, depending where I'm at in the course, but I can take my hands off the bars, reach behind me, pull it off. I've got a little Velcro strap under my seat, and I can pull it off and I can put it on while I'm riding. And that is
Wow.
another thing to practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you have to stop, take your camelback off, unzip it, pull it out, 5 other things fall out, put your jacket on, then put your camelback on, then realize, oh shoot, I forgot something, and then no, that is not the way to do this race. You need to be able to have your jacket. Maybe it's in your jersey pocket. Maybe it's in a different bag, depending on your bike frame. You know, there might be a bag that fits in there above your water bottles, but you have to be able to get to this stuff right now. Because if you're a 12-hour bubble rider, you cannot waste time.
Right.
Never. I don't care where it is, what you're doing, you don't waste time. You are moving, grooving, going. You'll figure out at 11:50 when you're crossing the red carpet, then you know, okay, fine. I could have done it different. But until you get to that point, you know, you just do not waste a click on that clock ever.
Right.
Mhm.
Right. And that's going to be something with her. Even when we were training for Iceman, you know, we would be on rides, and just to get in that mode, you know, like I say, we're recreational riders. So, oh, you want a candy bar, you know, oh, it's in my pocket. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, hold on a second. Stop. And you stop and you get the candy bar, and, you know, then we talk for a couple minutes, and, you know, we're training for a race. I'm like, we got to go, you know, and it's a mindset for sure, even in training, to make sure that your training mirrors what you're going to do during the race, you know.
Absolutely. So you're going to
Yeah.
have, if you put everything in the top tube, fine. You may put gels in this side. You may put salt tablets in this side. You know, whatever it is, keep it consistent so that when you're training, you know where it is. And then come race day, you know where it is. So you're not reaching in the wrong pocket and pulling out a glove, and then the glove falls on the course. And then you're trying to decide, do I stop and get it? Do I go? What do I do? None of that. It's in this pocket, and here's my gel, and you know, you've got everything down, streamlined, efficient. There's no gray areas. It's, I need this, whatever that is. And you get it,
Right.
and you're not stopping. You're not going to stop and eat. You're not going to stop and drink. You're not going to, if you can, don't stop and put your coat on. Try and put it on when you're running.
Right.
You know, that's the I'm worried about the cutoff advice.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Don't
Which is
stop.
pretty much where we're at, is worried
Yeah.
about the cutoff point.
Worried about the cutoff point. Well, it's a valid worry until you get there and you put some time on the course and you kind of figure out, what engine do I have? How prepared am I? You know, how am I reacting to elevation?
Right.
And when you can answer those questions, then you can either put your mind at rest or push a little harder for traded for the next couple of weeks.
Mhm.
Get to that point.
Yeah. Right. For sure. So how is it for you being doing it so many years? What keeps you going? What keeps you doing it?
Well, we don't, that's a whole other episode, but
Yeah.
that's the buckle I chase. That's my EKG. That's my heart. And that's the elevation of the course. So Leadville saved my life, literally saved my life, because I'm always training and I'm always watching my numbers. and something was wrong, and I took that to the cardiologist, and after years and years of pushing, I finally got the big test. They found out I had blockages, I had a heart attack, and we got stents. And, so because Leadville saved my race, I just am now even more, I'm just more embedded into it and connected to it. And it just means so much more to me personally. And I will do it until some higher force says you can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome.
that's my why now. Before it was, I didn't finish year one, and I was so pissed at everything that led me to not finishing. I crossed the finish line, but I missed some of the course because I started seeing spots, and that's a whole other episode too. But
Oh, man.
I didn't finish, and I said to myself, that will never happen again. So,
Right.
Just the determination, ex-motocrosser, never quit, all that
Right.
kind of stuff. So,
Sure. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So are you still shooting for sub 9?
yeah, always. I may get 1040, but I'm still shooting for 9.
Yeah.
I'm going to train for it. I'm going to give it everything I have, no matter what. I'm going to, and we'll just see how the day comes. The last 2 out of the last 3 years I had COVID. I tested positive for COVID on Monday. So did the race with COVID 2 out of the last 3 years, which is no good.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
that's just the hand I was dealt. So, but still finished. So happy
Sure.
about that.
Absolutely. It's incredible. You
Mhm.
got, like you said, you've got your own episodes for sure. In fact, you have some of them out there. So I hope some people get a chance to see your story, and it's quite an inspiration for sure.
Well, thanks.
Mhm.
All right. Well, I think, for now, we're going to wrap it up. I think we're going to come back and maybe do another episode on what was the last category of questions you had?
Body.
Yeah. Sore body, we didn't really talk. Last category I had would have been, we were going mind, bike, body. And we're down to body. So we'll be talking about training and nutrition and, all of that,
Well, let's just shift right into body. And if we can edit, we can edit it out if we have to.
Okay.
Go
All
ahead.
right.
Let's keep
That's
going.
fine. All right. So you hooked us up with a trainer. We like I said, we're taking this series. Never done anything this kind of distance. We're learning all kinds of new acronyms, FTP, ATP, HR, SSM.
Yeah.
It's just all
It's really exciting though.
It's a
It's a lot.
lot. It's a lot, and it's so awesome. I'm a mechanic by trade. So, having, breaking down your body into these mechanical parts and what this can do versus what this can do. And you work out in these certain areas to build, is really interesting for us both.
Mhm.
And, still learning all of that. We just did our first test to get our actual FTP. It's FTP, right? It's FTP.
Mhm.
Yes.
All right.
Functional threshold power.
Yeah.
Right. So that's where we're at. And,
And our heart rate.
as we suspected, we're total novices and we've got a long ways to go, and that's part of the mental thing. Like you got to go back to the fact that, all right, we're 7 months away. So, the, it'll come. We just got to, you just got to do the paces as the trainer's telling us what to do every day. I mean, we're doing something every day, which is a lot with family and work and everything. Is going to be a lot going on.
Something's going to get neglected throughout, along the way. Something is going to get neglected, or a lot of things.
Yeah.
There's no doubt.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, it's and I've done this for, 29 years, and I'm still learning.
Yeah.
Still learn. So this process is never over. But, you touched on your coach and you do something every day. Here's something, that one of the other YouTube shows, the girl, one of her big pieces of advice to the first timers was, when you get your program, stick to the program. She said, I thought I was behind, and this was, May. And she said, whatever I did more than I should have done. I might have doubled the workout. And I did too hard, too long, too early. And I tried to cram for the test, and I paid for it. And she had to take most of June off to get to recover and get back to where she could start again reasonably. And she said, I lost at least 3 weeks of training because I overdid it. And I was just so depleted in every way. I didn't do anything right. I didn't do anything I was told to do. I really screwed it up. And she was able to, recover and get back at it, and went to the camp. And I think she finished in 11:54. So,
Oh, wow.
Don't do that. If you get when you get your program, stick with your program. Your coach knows what he's doing, and he knows your FTP, he knows your heart rates, he knows what to prescribe you to, you just want to inch up. You're just inching up every day. You're just inching up, and you're recovering, and you're inching up. You cannot cram for Leadville. This is one test you cannot cram for.
Right.
Yeah.
And when you may feel like, I'm not going hard enough, I'm not doing enough. You have to get that out of your head. When that thought comes into your head, you have got to just let it keep on going out the other side, because that is going to be a bad thing that's going to haunt you. If you're following a program and the trajectory is to Leadville, because Leadville is your race, stick with the program, because he's got it figured out that you're going to peak in August. You don't need to peak in June.
No.
You need to peak in August. So follow the program. He's got it. He's seeing the forest through the trees, and he's got big picture in mind for you. So just stick with it. Don't overdo it. Rest when it's time to rest. I mean, now that we're not 21 anymore, rest is important.
Well, and that's kind of, where you and I are in the same category as far as age, pretty close. And, that's the biggest thing that I've noticed with anything else that I've done. I'm not the same guy I was, even 5 years ago. I mean, it's just not the same. So that's messed with me mentally as well. But, we went with Matt, the coach that you recommended, because he reassured me that, listen, I got it. I got you. I know the recovery that you're going to need. It's going to be more than probably Wendy's going to need, but we're going to set you on a trajectory to make sure that you get to the finish line. So I'm interested to see how different our programs end up being. Wendy's 10 years younger than I am. So she, on her rest day today, she went to the gym and worked out. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm resting, so. And I told her, I'm like, don't blow this, you got to take it easy, but she wants to get stronger fast, and she's anxious. So,
well, for a couple years, I was coached by Chris Carmichael himself, which is a great honor, and an incredible person, incredible coach, incredible everything. And there's a lot of things that I took away from those couple years. But something that's always on the forefront of my mind when we have these conversations is, don't overcook the sauce. It's simmering. You're stirring it. It's simmering. Just let it simmer. Don't overcook it. So keep that in your mind. When he says rest, because if you don't rest, you're not going to adapt. You're not going to make the gains. And it's, your trajectory will be different. He has you set on a trajectory for Leadville. If you do other things and deviate from the program and add in things, when he thinks you're rested and he gives you a workout and you can't do the workout to the numbers he's asking for, you've changed the trajectory of the program. So I would recommend, if it's a rest day, rest.
I will have no problem with that, Mike.
I don't either. I look forward to rest days.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No doubt about that.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I'm interested to see how that all works. It's interesting, the different types of workouts that it looks like he's going to give us as far as endurance rides and like sprinting, different cadences, and a lot of different things that we're learning about that. You and I talked earlier about clipping in, and I'm a novice at I've clipped in on and off over the years, so I obviously can clip in, but I know that there's a technique and a skill set that actually is acquired by doing it right. Is there any tips that you can give us to develop those skills to properly push the pedals, so to speak?
Well, clipping in and clipping out. I personally like Shimano pedals because they have a dial and you can dial it down so that you can get in and out of them real easy.
Right.
I've got a terrible right ankle that is super weak, so I back mine all the way off because I have got to get out of my right pedal or I will twist my ankle on my bike. So that I would recommend, if it's not Shimano, it's something that you can dial down the pressure settings so you can get in and out of them easy.
Right.
I think getting in and out of them is just going to come with repetition. You will feel it, everybody that's ridden for a while. I mean, they get going and they just slam their foot down and you feel the click and it's just, you don't even think about it. It is not something you're worried about. We can have a whole other conversation about how to clip in on the steep hill. That's a whole other different thing. But if you're just clipping in and out, just riding, that's going to come with repetition. And you're just going to, you're going to feel it going and you're going to know it's in and you're just going to keep pedaling.
Right.
I think another thing you're going to, you want to pedal in circles. You're going to coming off of flat pedals, you are going to be, this is, I'm just pushing for this, 35% down, 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 down. And when you can get it in your head, I am pushing and pulling and pushing and pulling, and I'm doing circles with my feet. You're going to watch your power meter increase with very little additional effort. You're just going to change where that power is going to be distributed equally around a 360 degrees circle instead of all of it right here. And that's more efficient. That's better. And you will, and you'll start to feel it as you progress and you do your workouts. You will be able to start to feel, all right, I'm pulling. I can, while I'm pushing, this leg's going down, this leg's coming up. And it's, it's going to happen with time, but you'll feel it.
Right. Yeah, I've noticed it already. Could even see it on the meter. If I, I lose track of what I was doing and I just realized I was just mashing the pedals, even though I was clipped in, and say, all right, spin, pull, and obviously that's a whole different muscle set. I mean, your hip flexors and everything starts hurting. You're like, holy crap, I don't normally do this. And, but you immediately, like you said, with very little effort, see a very nice gain in wattage almost immediately.
Right. And you're gonna, so you're gonna learn that. You're gonna learn the higher cadence is going to become second nature, and so is clipping in, and so is spinning in circles. Those things are going to come with repetition, and you're going to, you may think about it a lot more in the front end as you're building that skill. But, a couple months down the road, it's just going to happen. You're just going to know you're doing it, and you're going to be able to feel that you're, I'm riding differently, which is going to, it's going to be positive.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be worth it for sure.
I still need to get my shoes. I'm not clipped in yet.
If you're a first timer and you just got your email that you're in and you don't have clips, I recommend getting your clips soon.
Yeah.
Right.
Get them in, get them on your bike, get your shoes right, get them fit to your bike, start riding with those.
Right.
That is my priority this week. I swear.
All right. Well, any other questions on the what was that? The physical side, the body side?
Body side.
I mean, what about eating, Mike? I mean, as far as fueling your body during training, do you have any specific times when you eat, or obviously I know you're a low fat diet. and on kind of a special diet, but I didn't know if you had a time that you specific times that you ate or certain calories that you would eat. Do you get into any of
Sure.
that?
Yep. I mean, with your coach, I know your coach, and he's gonna suggest you eat every 15 minutes on the bike. And
Right.
that could be a bite of something and rinse it down. That could be just a, just a big shot of liquid. It could be a gel, whatever it is, you are just slow dripping all day. And, my analogy is if you run with your gas tank always on full, it's always topped off, and something happens, you get a flat, you crash, whatever it is, and you don't eat for an hour. Well, now you're only at half. You can keep going at half. You can keep going full tilt with half tank. But if you are running at half throughout the day because you're missing feeds and you're just not eating, and then that same event happens, now you're on E. And now you can't recover.
Right.
So you have depleted everything, and it's, game changer. May not be game over, but it's going to be game changer. So if you're running up here and your tank is always full, whether it's gels, bars, liquids, whatever it is, and you have an event that has you not eat for a while, you're still good. So eating is huge. When you eat is huge. How often you eat. I mean, Eldon and Fatty, make sure I get this right. Leadville is a eating contest designed as a mountain bike race. And they're, they say it in jest, but I mean, it's fact. I mean, you
Right.
have got to eat constantly.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. And then, the condensed version is you're going to learn, but you're going to have 250, 300 calories in a bottle, and you're going to need, 70, 80, 90 carbs in that bottle, and you're going to need to be going through a bottle an hour. That's baseline kind of stuff. And if you get tired of drinking that, you can supplement that with instead of half a bottle, you do a gel. There's 100 calories in a gel. So you can switch it out, but those are the numbers that you are going to be reference numbers, 250, 300 calories, 70 to 90 carbs in an hour, every hour, all day. And you're going to have to do a lot of testing throughout your training season to make sure that the food that you're ingesting is compatible with your system, and you're going to be able to stomach it and tolerate it and eat that all day long. And so you're going to have to start with something, whatever that thing is, and try it. And if you're good and you're happy and you feel good, fine. If anything isn't 100%, try something else. And
Right.
the feed has all of those things available in one-stop shop. So there's a plug for the feed, and they don't even sponsor.
Is the feed one of the stops?
No, the feed is a company that sells all of the nutritional things.
Oh,
Whether
I
it's
see.
your drink,
Okay.
whether it's your electrolytes, whether it's your gels, they sell all that stuff. And they've got sample packs and that sort of thing, so you can try things. But you're going to be, that's a whole other learning curve that you're going to have to go.
12 hours of gels every 15 minutes. That sounds, wow. That could be tough if you're not used to it, for sure.
Oh, it's tough. And you'll learn, you can get you can make rice cakes. Scratch has recipes where you can make your own rice cake. So you have some real food, and you mix that with blueberries and maple syrup and different things, and you can eat real food, which is another way. I prefer that myself. It works better for me.
Right.
But everybody's different. Everybody's got a different engine, and they process it different, and you'll learn.
Right. Makes sense for sure.
Yeah. So you guys have a lot of homework.
Yeah.
A lot of
It's
homework.
overwhelming.
You have a steep hill to climb on learning all this, and then you have a steep hill to climb when you get to Leadville. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, we're gonna do our homework up front here, and appreciate you helping us out and giving us some advice and have us on the show for sure. And hopefully it helped other people and gives them some food for thought at least.
no, great. And I'm sure, we get some other people to watch. It's Mike at Get My Buckle for the YouTube channel. Randy and Wendy Delker, good luck, and we'll see you at the finish line.
All right,
Yes.
sounds great. Good luck, everybody. Thanks, Mike.
All right, see you.